Gill Wagner. We're at Modesto's on the Hill in St. Louis, Missouri, or Missouri, depending on whether you're from Missouri or Missouri. My company is Honest Selling. That's how I make my money. It's sales training, coaching, and consulting, teaching people how to sell by building relationships and being honest instead of some of the trickery that other people use. I fight bullies. If I have a visceral purpose in life, it's to make it impossible for the bullies of the world to thrive. If you think about sales, the manipulative sales tactics that salespeople use, that's a form of bully behavior. They're tricking people into doing things that may or may not be the right thing that they should do for themselves. I didn't realize that, but that's kind of, Dixie helped me figure that out. Learned how to sell, learned everything I adore and love about sales, watching my dad interact with homeowners in their kitchens and backyards. So he kind of taught me, I guess he didn't really teach me, I sort of learned by watching, but he taught me the foundation of what I hold dear about sales, and it's about building relationship, always do what's best for people. But the stories, it's because we were working together, we'd have the morning breaks, the lunch, we'd stop by for the beer in a tavern, and I'd play foosball while he was having a beer and that kind of stuff. The stories that he was telling about his youth and how he was the bully fighter in school. If somebody was picking on somebody else, he's a big guy. If somebody was picking on somebody else, he stepped up and got in the middle and stopped it. And I guess I developed this absolute loathing of bully behavior from him because he was kind of my hero at the time. I used to have a signature line on my email that says, "Hi, my name is Gill. I am a recovering sales drip," which is my term for the manipulative salespeople. It's been 4,287 days since I lied to a prospect to close a sale. May 18th, 1998. My partner and I had started a company in '96. Y2K was kind of just starting to take hold, and we weren't doing it, and we were trying to do the work we wanted to do. So a year and a half later, we were broke. In debt up to our eyeballs, no receivables, no money in the bank account, and we had switched to creating the contingency plans, if the computers go down, how are we going to get business done plan for banks, because the FDIC was auditing them and they needed that. So we saw an opportunity to try and make some money there temporarily. And I had a sales call with a small bank in a small town in Idaho. I don't want to name the town because it's so small, there's probably only one bank. And the guy asked me a question, and I lied to him. And the deal was locked up. It was a $48,000 consultant, build his plan engagement. The question was, have you ever done this for a bank before? And I said, yeah, I've done it a dozen times. It was an impulse lie. We were looking at filing bankruptcy. Honest people are capable of lying when their family and their partner's family are going down. I admit it. Immediately, I felt regret for the lie, but not was told. And his response was, which banks? Like they say, you never tell a lie because it's a slippery slope. I guess in hindsight, I'm sort of lucky that I knew that if you did a project for a bank that was subject to federal audit, you were not allowed to tell anybody you did that project for that bank. So I told him, I said, I can't tell you what banks, it's subject to federal audit. I can't tell you what banks I've worked for. And he said, oh yeah, that's right. So I got out of the lie. I closed a $48,000 deal. I turned 2 families around. We were off and running as Y2KExperts.com. 3 months later, the FDIC was sending my project plan I did for that bank to banks that had failed audits, telling them to hire. The FDIC became my sales force. The world completely changed around, and I've regretted it ever since. It ate at me. It wasn't how I was taught to sell. It was just one of those impulse things that happened. So, and when I started the company, Honest Selling, that was 2000. It was about 4 years ago that I kind of realized that was the event that sort of, I guess, made me mad at myself for lying to him. And it's like I look back and what was the impetus for this? I forget who I was having a conversation with. But that's sort of what started it. It's an organization that's creating itself. And that stems from probably about 50 different things that all came together at the same point in time, sort of created Yellow Time. One of them, and not the least significant, is I bore easily. I'm an inventor in my soul. I don't like repetitive tasks. And as a sales consultant, I work with people that, I help them build their marketing plans. And I was over and over with clients. I was helping them form a group of people, like no two competitors in the group, and make that group work. And there are half a dozen different programs out there like that that people could join, but a lot of people don't fit the models that are there. So I find myself helping the customers do the same thing over and over again. And Yellow Ties, that was one of the things that went into Yellow Tie. Is I came up with this idea kind of at the same time with one of my clients I was working with in Austin, Phil Hamilton. He was trying to create this referral, get to know one another, build relationships so business can happen, network, and I was getting bored, and I said, hey, what if we did this, not just instead of me and you, what if we sort of tried to do this for everybody? And that kind of launched Yellow Tie in a nutshell. The idea was to create an association within which people could form groups, so I could kind of do it once and it would sort of permeate. I wouldn't have to do it over and over again. Salespeople need to build relationships where everybody that they're dealing with is trying to accomplish the same thing. A referral network is sort of the common. Everybody in sales, builds a referral network where there's one attorney, one accountant, one whatever, and they trade referrals and get to know one another. And so that's kind of the common thing, is sales and forming groups and leveraging the power of those groups. But I know salespeople. I am a salesperson. I've been in sales my entire life. And my experience is you can't teach a salesperson how to implement a system and have them actually follow it. They're always going to tweak it to their own strengths. They're going to take what they like and use it, mold it, and create their own system for achieving whatever they're trying to achieve. So when we started a trade association for salespeople, we decided to create an association that would create itself. So we wouldn't tell them how to do it. We kind of help them do it how they wanted to do it, which is kind of my philosophy of sales. Sales training is to find people's strengths and help them create their own system for selling instead of teaching them my system because they're not me and what I do won't work for them. We're creating an organization where when people meet at our meetings, and about their third, if they're not naturally this way, about their third or fourth meeting, they start getting the idea of it's not about me, it's about me, how I can be helpful to you. It's that give without keeping score. We started, it was a give first philosophy. Now it's kind of turned into a give without keeping score philosophy. It's not about I'll give so that I can receive, because as soon as you start doing that, then you have a debtor and a creditor, not somebody that's helpful. So it's become an organization of consummate connectors of people and just people that love to help other people. Which kind of follows on a selling model of sales, which is always do what's best for the prospect. So that, it's permeated by Gill's philosophy of sales and business, which is do what's best for the other person always, and you can't help but win. In the sales world, that might cost you a sale today, but it'll produce relationships today that result in sales or other opportunities tomorrow by always treating people fairly and doing what's best for them. If you're in sales and you've been taught manipulative, if you're doing anything that makes you uncomfortable, that probably means you are an honest person who's been taught bad tactics. There is a better way. You don't have to do all that stuff. You might have to leave the company you're working for to sell honestly, because some companies are run by people who, you have to do it their way. Consumers of the world, Consumers Against Sales Trips is coming. It's really not that difficult to spot the bad behavior and avoid it, so you never have to be afraid of buying a house or buying a car or making a major purchase. You can be, just a few simple things. We're going to make sure it's real easy to understand how to spot the behavior and avoid it and find good, honest salespeople. For the entrepreneur, same thing I said to you a little while ago when we met, money follows passion. Dixie taught me that passion is, back to the Latin definitions, and I don't remember the Latin word, that's Dixie's realm, but it's something you're willing to suffer for. If you're willing to suffer for your dream, I can pretty much guarantee you will suffer for it, but it'll be worth it. Don't have expectations. When you have expectations, you will only ever produce what you expect.